I'm someone that unfortunately measures a lot of my day and my worth in how productive I was today. Being really busy is something that is good. I need to be kind of busy. I want to be busy to know that I'm achieving something, doing something with my life. In our culture, even being stressed is something that is really normalized or even glorified. If you ask someone, how are you? And they respond with busy or stressed, it's almost an expected answer. Nowadays, we also have this whole hustle culture where it's all about being as productive as you can to achieve business goals of yours. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. Business-wise, that is the wise thing to do, but it does come at an expense, often at the expense of your health, whether mental or physical, but also through being so busy and working so much, you tend to spend less with your loved one and your friends. So the question is, what are you actually sacrificing along the way of being so busy? Coming to Italy and seeing this slower pace of life and this whole different and new culture has been really inspirational for me. Right when I came, I noticed that the Italians that I saw tend to take life so much slower, and they have this energy like they're enjoying life, they're soaking every moment and minute in. They're not rushing from one place to another, trying to get things done, being busy all the time. Of course, to this maybe more relaxed lifestyle or enjoying life, there is also a potential negative side. Maybe things aren't as efficient, especially if you're on the receiving end of things. Things might take longer, you might have to wait for people. But coming from Germany, where everything is engineered really strictly and things are as efficient as they can be, this more relaxed, slower pace in life is something that is really foreign. But the question I ask myself is it always better to have things as efficient as they could be, or more efficient? Is more efficient always better? Or are we maybe missing out on something? Maybe we're missing out on art or on beauty. It's definitely something I noticed here in Florence, that every corner you turn, everywhere you look, there is art and beauty. And if you take everything so seriously and so efficiently, maybe you'd be missing out on art. If you wanted to build a building as efficient as possible, you would probably leave out those hand-carved statues or ornaments on the facade, or maybe not paint the ceiling with a beautiful mural. In a way, coming here, I was also slightly forced into taking a slower pace in life, seeing all, as I said, the art and the beauty around me. I was forced to stop and look, and seeing all the beautiful markets here, whether it's food markets, antique markets. I wanted to stroll through every single one of them, and also seeing the locals take dinner later, like at 7 or 8, and then sitting there for quite some time chatting with friends. It really showed me this other side of, or another possibility of, how you could be living your life. What I also noticed is that you don't really see many people looking down on their phones here. They're either sitting somewhere on a step, at a fountain, on a bench, and just looking around, or they're talking to friends, neighbors, family members. So few of them are actually just staring down on their phone. And in Germany, that's something that's pretty different, especially if you take the subway, or people are just always looking down on their phones. And I'm definitely one of those guilty people that, especially if I'm alone, I feel like I don't really have anything to do, I will just look down on my phone. But here I've kind of maybe subconsciously joined the locals in just sitting and looking about, soaking in my surroundings, just being in the moment. To me, slow living is about setting different priorities. So before, my priority for work was pretty high up. I was always trying to be as productive as I can, get as much done in a day as I can. Otherwise, I felt like the day was somehow wasted. But I want to change that. I want to shift the priority of work further down and the priority of living further up. Now, that doesn't mean that I just want to work less and watch more TV in a sense. it's also a lot about spending your free time not working really intentionally. So how do I want to incorporate this slow living more into my life? So firstly, I want to not set any expectations. I've learned this year that expectations are they just set you up for disappointment most of the time, and they cause you unnecessary pain. It just stresses us more if we feel like we didn't get something done in a certain time and we expected the day to go so and so and it just didn't. And most of the times expectations are just so unrealistic. Why is it that I expect my day to go like this, even though I often don't have 100% control over my day? It's almost inevitable that some things are not going to go the way that I want it to go, just because there are things that are just out of our control. So I want to release my expectations of what is to come, whether it is for the day, for the month, for the year. Now that doesn't mean that I don't set myself goals, I do, but I, in a sense, go with the flow of, if that's what comes up, then that's what I'm working with, instead of trying so hard to cling onto my expectations of how it should have gone. Maybe I'll try to loosen up my schedule a bit and plan the day and set tasks and goals for the day as I go along. I won't be as strict with myself. As long as I do spend my day intentionally, then all is well. Secondly, I really want to try to incorporate more DIYs or things that I do myself. So nowadays we're so used to, if I want something, I'll just buy it, or if I want something, I can get it a click of a button away. But I often think that back in the day, things weren't as instant, or things took time. For example, if you wanted vegetables, you'd have to grow them yourself, and it takes a lot of time and energy and care. If you wanted a sweater, you'd have to knit it yourself. If you wanted a yummy dinner, you'd have to cook it yourself. And nowadays things are so much more instant. You can deliver food, you can deliver clothes, things are just out of our reach. Now, I'm not saying you have to make all of your clothes yourself, but I think I want to pick a few things where I try to do them myself, to soak in the process and learn about how much energy actually has to go into making something. And I feel like it really helps me appreciate the item so much more, but also just in an effort of slow living, slow down, and really witness how things are coming about or how things are made. Number 3 that I want to implement in my life is to go the scenic route. So I'm someone that usually is really like going from A to B. All I think about is the destination. I want to get there as quick as possible. But going the slower or the scenic route is something that I think can be really beneficial when it comes to slow living. We're forced to look at our surroundings, make the journey part of the point of why we're even going out. So it's not just about the destination, it's also about the way to the destination. How are you enjoying that? Take a walk instead of maybe taking the bus. Do things a little slower and notice every step of the way. The next thing I want to be more conscious of is how I actually measure my day. So as I said, up until now, I've measured my day by how many things I got done, how productive I was, and sometimes really silly that I'll be having a nice day of reading, taking a walk, but at the end of the day, I'll feel like, oh, but I didn't get anything productive done. Well, that's because I measure my life and my day and my worth by level of productivity, and I want to kind of shift and change that mindset to measure my life by something else. It can really be anything we want, if it's by moments of being present, moments of laughter, moments of whatever. But I feel like whatever we measure our life in, that is what we will strive towards. So if we measure our day in moments of laughter, then we will try to laugh more to feel more accomplished at the end of the day, if that makes sense. So I have tried to measure my day by moments of presence, moments of where I'm truly in the moment, soaking in everything and not being so much in my head and my thoughts, but really in the now. And it's something that I do have to constantly remind myself of. The productivity mindset is so much of a default that I really have to program my mind, and it will take some time. Nextly, I want to try to listen to my body more. I've noticed that when we're really focused or stressed or deep in thought, we tend to be so much in our head that we are kind of out of our bodies. And I've noticed that when I meditate and I return my consciousness towards or back into my body, I notice things like hunger or thirst or aches, just things that my body is feeling. And I feel like we often don't listen to what our body is telling us. If you're hungry, then feed yourself. If you're tired, take a rest. In a way, also respect our bodies more. It goes through so much. It has to carry us and do all these things, and sometimes we forget to take care of our body. Now, lastly, something I want to be more conscious of is to go more analog instead of digital. So when I think of digital, something that instantly comes to mind is instant results. If you have a question, just Google it and you'll have your answer. We have real-time news. We have online shopping that with same-day delivery, and everything is so fast and so instant, and we get used to that more and more, and we want things faster. And even though it is really convenient in some way to save time like that, we sometimes forget what are we rushing for? Why do we need to save so much time? If it's maybe for spending more time with family, then that's a great reason to speed up that process. But if it's just to have more time to be productive, then we should really question, what are we trading our time in for? How are we spending our time? So for me, I really want to try to appreciate and go back to slower things, maybe write things with my hand instead of typing, or maybe browsing physical shops and not online stores. I want to try to stop Googling everything. It's something that I'm really used to, having the answer right now. It is almost like an itch, like I have to know right now. I know that when I talk about slow living, there will be some of you that might push it away and think that it's something only for privileged people. And of course, you do have to have some level of privilege to be able to pursue the slow living. I mean, if you're fighting for your life, then it's not going to be something on your mind or a high priority of yours. But if you've clicked on this video, I think you are interested in slow living or are intrigued by it and would maybe like to incorporate it into your life. And I think we often push it to the side faster because we feel like it's not attainable for myself, but it's actually more attainable than we think. Maybe you could ask yourself, why do you think slow living is not attainable or achievable for you? Most likely you will answer that it's because of your work. Mostly work consumes the majority part of our lives, of our days. But then you could ask yourself, why am I working so much? Now, mostly the answer will be to live, to afford the life that you have. You need to earn money and you need to work. But then you could ask yourself, but could I have a life of less? Do I need to have such an expensive lifestyle? Maybe you could live with less and therefore work less. And that is something I really love about minimalism. It really forces you to think about what is important to you and pare down your life and with that your spendings. And when you spend so much less, you can afford to work less. And when you can afford to work less, you can focus on the things that are more important to you. Most of us had to live on a small budget during college, for example, and we got by. We still feel like we had a great life. We lived. But it's when we get that first job and that first big paycheck where we tend to inflate our lifestyles. And then we get so used to this inflated lifestyle that we feel like we cannot go back. But if we somehow manage to maybe go back to that smaller spending budget, you realize you don't need that much to live and you don't need so many things to be happy. You can find happiness in other things that are free. There are more valuable things than just working your whole life. So try to take that time to slow down, to look about, enjoy life. Take a page out of some of the Italians here that are really slowing down and enjoying life. Good things do take time, but we're so far away nowadays from the things that take time. Everything's supposed to be faster. clothes should be made faster, houses should be built faster, everything needs to be faster, but faster is not always better. Oftentimes it sacrifices quality, which is why good things take time. Hopefully we realize that we need to slow down our life and start living it sooner than later. Regret is something that is very scary to me. Let me know down below what is a way you like to slow down life or will want to slow down life now going forward. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.